to get their children from out of the schools that they passed for or that they were placed at, and trying to get them into the so-called traditional schools. Now, if all parents were to try to get their children into the traditional schools would be seriously and severely overcrowded, while the non-traditional schools are, underpopulated. Now, I want you to go with me on a trajectory. What if the your child is extremely talented or gifted, and they go to a traditional high school? Say they're gifted in track and field, or they're gifted in math or so. If they go to one of these traditional high schools that are, everybody wants their children to go, sometimes these children will be placed on a team that have several other gifted children, and they will be overlooked, or they'll have to compete to get to get recognized. While if they had gone to a non-traditional high school, more than likely they would find themselves with a good teacher who could nurture their talent, because these schools wouldn't have so many children, or they wouldn't be competing so much for the teacher's time or attention. Now, think about it this way. Say you have, now we're in the season of track and field, champs is in the air, and you have a student who is extremely talented in running. If you move this child from the school that they would have passed for and send them to the traditional high school that is, so-called winning, or, doing extremely well in track and field, then that child is going to be caught up with other children who are extremely talented as well. And that child will be having to compete even more. And chances are they'll get left behind, because other children might edge them in terms of the glory spot. While if you sent that child to one of the not so popular high schools, and this child qualified for champs, or if this child gets a good coach, they could work on this child. They could build this student and make them into a global superstar one day. Look at Usain Bolt, for example. I'm thinking that if Usain Bolt went to, say, JC or KC or Calabar, I don't think he might have come out to the success he is, because he would have been overshadowed by other students. Because when Calabar rolls out their track and field practice in the evening, you see hundreds of boys, or maybe, yes, maybe hundreds of boys coming out to train. But the school that Usain Bolt went to, I think it's William Knibb, he may have been just among one of 10 or maybe one of 20 boys training in the evenings. And this coach is able to, give him more pinpoint several issues that he might need to work on and really nurture him. But when you have these children competing on these teams that have several hundreds of students, or 20, 30, 50 students training at a time, the coach can't really get to nurture or work on that one student at a time. Now, it's the same principle in the classroom. When you have everybody bright in one class, and you need to nurture and pick out the weak areas in a particular student, those children don't get that attention because there are so many of them in the classroom. While if you send them to a non-traditional high school where they are gifted and they have several others, but maybe they are not so gifted, that a teacher, a wise teacher, usually would be there to really work on that child and help that child to grow and be better. So what I'm basically saying is, when you have several corn in one pot growing, and you have a peas growing in there, the peas might not get the particular nurturing that it needs, because it has so much competition in this one pot. But if you send these peas to a pot where maybe just 3 of them are growing, the peas will be able to get more attention, and the farmer, which would be the teacher in this case, would be able to work on your child. So that's all I have to say for now. Don't be so worried about sending your child to traditional high schools, because traditional high schools are seriously overrated. And to tell you the truth, all schools are just basically doing the same thing these days. In fact, all teachers went to the same college, It's not like some went to a better college than others. All teachers have the same skill. All of them work together. So no school has better teachers, or maybe one school might have a past students association that is funding them, giving them extra resources or so. But all schools are basically on the same platform nowadays. Manchester High, for example, is not the Manchester High it was 20 or 30 years ago. So I've even seen where Mayday and other schools in Manchester are doing just as good as Manchester High. So the traditional high schools are not doing as well as they used to, or that parents still think they are. You know, a lot of them are just living off their name based on 20 or 50 years ago. So just send the child to the school that they passed for, and encourage that child to grow where they are planted. That's all I have to say for now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. God bless. See you.